Hey guys, and welcome to askmark number 42. We are 10 episodes away from our first birthday. How exciting. How exciting is that? Anyway, before I jump onto the usual, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us on our Instagram live. It was a bit of a wing. For people that don't know, one, go follow us on Instagram. But
go over the Instagram.
We did some filming that you guys will see in a couple of weeks' time on beaches, on a couple of beaches around the area where we live. And we decided just to do a quick Instagram live, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a couple of questions in there, Mark. A good old chin wag, wasn't there?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who participated in that, and hopefully further down the line, you never know, we might do more of that, more controlled, more planned, should we say? But I think it has to be on the beach, Mark. But apparently there's a protest. We have to do it in the Maldives.
Yeah,
so we have to.
Well.
We have to do it. Not Sea Salt or Whitstable Beach, Maldives.
Might actually be able to get some diving in. Yeah. Bring on my kit as well.
Yeah, awesome. Right, well, yeah. Anyway, with that over and done with, hello. Hope you're all well. Whoever's watching this or listening to this as a podcast, because don't forget, guys, this goes live as a podcast first in the morning before it goes live on YouTube. That's that done. Mark. How are you? How's your week been? Hopefully it's been free of dramas other than the drama that we had when the camera fell in the sand and in the gravel when we were filming.
Yeah. Actually, thinking that I'm trying to think of a third thing that's gone wrong. Because this morning my dog hurt his paw on the dog walk this morning. I had to carry him about a kilometre back, and Rupert, he's quite a heavy dog. He's 22, 23 kilos, and he hurt his back paw to the point where he wouldn't walk. So I had to carry him all the way back to the car and then take him to the vets. So that was my morning, and my arms are already hurting from it. He's a heavy dog. It couldn't have been my little dog. No, it had to be the big dog.
Yeah, it had to be the big dog.
Yeah, yesterday when we were filming on the beach, the tripod fell over because the beach isn't flat. It was on an angle, and your camera fell over. Luckily,
we thought, yeah, thanks for that. Doesn't even matter. Even if it was your camera, it would have been all right because your thing wouldn't have been poking out.
Yeah, no, my screen doesn't poke out.
It doesn't poke out. Mine does. But it's all right. I'm going to get a proper screen, and then that can be folded in the back and never used again. Even though it's fine. It works absolutely fine. There's no issues with it. I'm just at a
it's
bit
a good
of an
excuse
angle.
to upgrade your equipment.
Exactly that. Yeah, cool. But you're all okay. Poor old Ruru. Thoughts and prayers.
Otherwise,
Actually, not thoughts and prayers. That's a horrible thing. That's when someone dies, isn't it?
Oh, no, no, he's fine. He's at the vets at the moment as we speak. And they're like, we'll just patch him up. It would just be local anaesthetic. He'll be fine. We might sort of cut the claw off. But yeah, he'll still have 4 feet by the time we're done with him.
Yeah, bless. Put a little dog emoji in the comments below, please, for Ruru. Thank you very much. Cool. All right. Shall we crack on?
Yeah, let's talk about scuba diving stuff.
Boring. So the first question is from Abanoob. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Abanoob. He said, hello, dears. Or they say, sorry, hello, dears. Hi, that's what my nan used to say. She used to call me a dear. So hi, nan, I guess, maybe. Anyway, hope you're very safe. Yeah, I'm pretty safe. Bit sunburnt.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. In autumn.
That's what happens filming on the beach on the hottest day of the year.
Yeah.
It's like sudden heat wave that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have put the olive oil on my skin. That was the worst thing. But
that was your first mistake.
Yeah, it was my first mistake. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, they say, I have a question regarding the optical lenses for the freediving masks. I would like to include you said it, and when you said it earlier, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a fine word.
Astigmatism.
Astigmatism, that's the one. Correct or spherical only. Thanks.
So if you're looking to put prescription lenses into your mask, whether it's a freediving mask or a scuba diving mask, you can get some masks that have off-the-shelf lenses, but they're usually scuba diving masks, so they're usually a little bit larger. They'll have prescriptions that go from It's normally about one, maybe 1.5, all the way up to, can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it's like +8 to like -5 or something. I could be wrong. It could be all backwards. But they only correct the spherical portion of your prescription. They don't account for astigmatisms or any of the other really long words that are on your glasses prescriptions. They only correct the spherical. If you have a relatively light prescription, if it's under that sort of 1.5, the reason why they don't make prescription lenses like less powerful is that the actual water itself can have a slight corrective property because of that magnifying effect. So it could be that you actually don't even need them because the water itself is correcting your eyes. If you do have a particularly sort of complicated prescription where you do have astigmatism and whatnot, then it might be worth contacting a specialist. The one that I usually recommend near us is called Axis Optical, and they literally, you send them a mask and you send them your prescription, obviously, and they will like grind out and create a dedicated lens and then sort of stick it into your exact mask. And it's not cheap by far, but if you have a relatively powerful or sort of complicated prescription, then that's actually the best way to go. You can get some like stick-in lenses, and you can get some that kind of stick in like a frame that you put on the inside of your mask. I have seen some divers use an old pair of like reading glasses, snap the arms off, and then kind of put them into their diving mask, kind of doing whatever they can. But no, just kind of off the shelf. It's just going to be the spherical reading, and also avoid contact lenses as well, because I've read a lot of things. I don't know if they're actually true or not, but yeah, it's really not worth it. Best case scenario, your mask stays in position for your entire dive and nothing ever happens. But if some water goes in and it gets in your eye, then your contact lens comes out, and then of course you can't put it in underwater. Or even if some water does get in, contact lens stays in. Of course, there are bacteria and amoeba and stuff that can get underneath it. And I read somewhere in some cases the sort of ionization of the salt water can actually react with the contact lens and like fuse it onto your eye, so it's hard to get off. So I don't know how true that is. I don't wear contact lenses or anything, so I'm quite lucky, and I haven't sort of researched it that much. But I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
But I don't like it when they mention like bacteria and like ionization fusing to your cornea or whatever. And it's just like, oh no, I'm going to steer clear of that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Well, it sounds like that should be in the latest Saw movie as one of the tortures.
We fused your contact lenses to your eye.
But it's the wrong prescription. Cool. All right. Sweet. Guys and girls out there, if you've done anything like this before, have you had a play around? Let us know how you got on with the comments below. Do you know about the contact lenses? Is Mark correct? Is that a thing? Let us know, please, down below.
Yeah. I mean, I read it. It was on a website for a company that specifically makes these prescriptive lenses. So it's a matter of, I'd like to think they know what they're talking about, but on the flip side of it, of course, they want to steer people away from just wearing their normal day-to-day contact lenses because they want them to buy their lenses. So I don't know, and I honestly didn't sort of research too much into it.
Cool. All right. Sweet. Right, let's go on to question number 2. It's from Broiz. I'm going to say Broiz. They say, my son just turned 10 and as a birthday present, he got certified. Awesome. That's fantastic. I want to rent while he's growing, but also considering maybe going modular. So as he grows, we can upgrade his equipment. He's currently little, but his teenage years aren't far away. I would love your feedback. Thanks. PS, subbed. Great info. Love your channel. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, there is children's equipment out there. And yeah, I usually recommend just sort of renting, because as they're growing, if you buy them, I mean, you'll know your kid's 10, is like, he'll grow out of it in a matter of months. The kids' BCDs, they are specifically designed to actually sort of grow up with them. So a lot of them, they have 2 buckles on the shoulder straps. So they start off at the high one where they're quite small, but then as they grow, you can then connect it and it gets even larger. But yeah, he will grow out of it. Getting into a modular sort of backplate and wing system would be a pretty good option, because he won't grow out of a backplate. They're pretty much kind of one size. You do get some that do come in 2 separate sizes, so you can get smalls and larges. But if you can get him to the stage where a large will fit him, then yeah, that backplate will just last his entire diving career. The only thing that really needs to change is the harness webbing, and webbing's pretty cheap. The actual bladder itself, you don't get like kids sizes or anything. They do come in different sizes for buoyancy, but yeah, just get him like a 30-pound wing or something, and then yeah, that will sort of continue on throughout his career. And then if he wants to move on to twins or something, then he can do that. It's yeah, modular is definitely the way to go. And yeah, with a webbing harness, yeah, if he does kind of grow out of it, cool, fine, just buy another roll of webbing, keep all the hardware, and then yeah, you can just sort of fit it exactly where he needs to as he starts to grow and change. So yeah, that probably is your best choice. And whilst he is growing, yeah, probably rental probably is the way to go. It's going to be cheaper in the long run, instead of buying BCDs and everything and wetsuits and stuff, and then he grows out of it. What's the point? Nah, just rent is probably the way to go for that.
Cool. Excellent. Maybe you can do a Parks and Rec thing and do rent a swag, where you just have some clothes. That's what we should do. Rent a swag, but rent a scuba gear stuff, but it's specifically designed for children.
Okay. I never watched
Parks and Rec.
So I've seen a couple episodes, but I think the first season is supposed to be a bit of a throwaway. You're not supposed to watch the first season.
It's okay, yeah. It grows. It's like The Office. It grows on you. The first season of The Office is pretty bland, but yeah, no, love Parks and Rec. But you guys, if you watch Parks and Rec, you know what I mean. Rent a swag. Swiftly moving on though to the third question. So this is from Kieran. He says, I have a dry suit that was loaned to me from a friend. That's a nice friend you got there. It was very tight, but the arms still leak. I have skinny wrists, but the seals are still tight. Have you got any advice to deal with this? It seems to feel like most of the leaking occurs in very shallow water. And then you put in brackets, no idea if this is really true.
Yeah, I mean, shallow water leaking in dry suits on the sleeves usually suggests a cuff dump. If your dry suit has a cuff dump, they don't like being on the surface, because it's basically a one-way valve. It relies on the water pressure to kind of hold it closed. So when you're on the surface, it doesn't have that water always kind of pushing it closed. And as you're like moving around and gesturing, it just lets water in. So if you're ever on the surface with a cuff dump, either keep it up out of the water so that water can't get in, or keep it down under the water so the water pressure sort of holds it closed. So it could be that. You also mentioned skinny wrists. If you have skinny wrists, you might have sort of this section between like your tendons, and they can, with sort of latex and, well, actually all seals, to be honest, that can create a little bit of like a groove, like a valley. So even though it is tight, it can actually allow water to track through. So for something like that, we usually recommend something like BioSeal. BioSeal is like a very soft, squidgy thing. It's basically like a tube that goes around your wrist, and then you put the seal of your dry suit over the top of that. And because it's kind of a really soft, squishy, I don't even know how to explain it. I've done a video on it. Just search for BioSeal on our YouTube, and it basically fills in that gap to stop the water from flushing through. It could also be just a genuine leak. If you do a positive pressure leak test, just to check if there are any like literal pinholes on any of the seams or any kind of wear and tear, it could be that the actual seal itself, the tape has gone, so the just water is kind of tracking in. It could be a lot of things, but skinny wrists suggests that you might have that sort of tendon issue. If you use like electrical tape, that can sort of help as well, just to really secure it around your wrist, make sure it's filling in all of the gaps, or BioSeal. And if it's only occurring on the surface and you've got a cuff seal, it could be that. That's usually a telltale sign. But also, just because the water is in one area of your dry suit after the dive doesn't mean that that's exactly where the leak is coming from. It could be that the water's getting in up here on your shoulder, following a seam sort of inside of your dry suit, but then finding an out further down and then making its way into the dry suit. So that positive pressure leak test, just inflate the dry suit, spray it down with some soapy solution to look for any bubbles coming out. If there's no leaks, then yeah, it's probably one of the other two.
Very, very interesting advice there, Mark. Hopefully that blends in. We've had some technical issues, guys. Going to let you be behind the curtains.
Don't tell them.
No, too late. Anyway, hopefully that helps out whatever Mark just said, Kieran. I'm sure it will do. So the next question is from Derek, channel regular. Hey, Derek, hope all is well. He says, hello, hi. Hello, hi. Will neoprene socks and rock boots on a dry suit stop the need for ankle weights? Thinking of replacing my dry suit boots. Don't like wearing ankle weights, and would that mean my feet will be wet after the dive? Cheers and thank you.
No. So neoprene socks and a dry suit are literally where you you cut the boots off effectively, and then you glue neoprene socks to the bottom of the legs. So you have neoprene like booty socks, and then you wear the dry suit sort of rock boots or just dry suit boots over the top of it, and then lace them up so your feet won't get wet. Will it mean they're less buoyant? Possibly. It depends on the actual dry suit boots that you're using at the moment. If they're the kind of the real classic, like a Wellington boot, kind of rubber, big, clunky boots, then yeah, there might be a certain amount of airspace in there, which could be adding to the buoyancy of your feet and making them rise up. Would switching to neoprene socks mean that you don't need to wear ankle weights again? I can't promise that. It might help, but if that is your sort of natural trim, then yeah, that just might be something that you have to sort of get used to, or at least modify the rest of your gear. So it's where basically either your feet are too buoyant, or more likely is that sort of around your shoulders you're too negatively buoyant, which is dragging you down. By shifting weight up towards your feet, you're actually equalizing it out. So maybe it's worth just with a buddy in like a lake or something, somewhere safe, just kind of throw your equipment on and see if you can start to move things around, move like your cylinder back a little bit, take the ankle weights off and try and sort of put them on like the base of the tank. So it's like lead weight just above your butt, and that can help kind of bring you back down. If you've got any sort of negative weight, any kind of lead up around your shoulders, move that sort of further down. Any kind of trim weight up around your tank, again, move that back down to your sort of your waist belt, and maybe that will start to help. But just by changing from sort of a more traditional dry suit boot to a sock, I don't think it's going to have a huge amount of difference, I'm afraid. It will probably help a little bit, especially if you have big clunky boots. But no, if you dive light tech boots at the moment, I don't think it'll have a huge amount of difference. Changing to socks. Personally, I prefer socks just because if my rock boot wears out, it's not the end of the world, and it's pretty cheap to swap them over. And also, you get a better choice of rock boots, as well as having like literal laces to actually lace your shoes up. So it's quite easy to sort of move around the dive site and get in and out of the boats just with rock boots. But I can't promise that it will help you with your ankle weight problem, I'm afraid.
What I took from there is that Mark does promise, and it's exact. No. Yeah, I guess it is a trick one. It's personal preference without knowing his complete setup.
Yeah. If you literally came to me and it was like sort of you and me in a swimming pool, yeah, we could spend a good sort of half an hour just kind of like working out on your trim. But yeah, just from like a paragraph of text, I can't do a lot of promising. And that one little change, I can't see it having that much of a benefit or effect on your trim. I think it's worth looking at the rest of your gear instead of just your boots.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. What about concrete fins? That'll work.
That'll help. Yep. It's one of those. So it'll reduce your maximum speed in the water because you can't move your legs. But
at least you won't be doing that. Swimming up or whatever, but yeah, cool. All right, girls and guys in the comments, I'll leave it out to you as well. Is there any tricks and tips about weight, or if you've got any suggestions that Mark didn't say, or if you've got any, just basically let us know in the comments. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
It might also be worth looking at gaiters. You get some gaiters for drysuit, which basically are like elasticated gaiters that just go around your calves, your lower leg, and that sort of stops any gas from traveling down towards your feet. It's kind of a double-edged sword in that it'll stop gas from getting down to your feet, which can help sort of keep their buoyancy down, but any gas that does get into your boots kind of gets trapped in there as well, so it doesn't migrate back out. So maybe that's something worth considering as well.
Cool. Gaiters actually stem from the hiking world, so you're welcome, guys. Even though that not many people wear gaiters unless you're
they stem from Florida. You know it, Sean. The gators.
Gators. No, not at all. No. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Let's go to question number 5. It's from Thorsten. Thorsten? Thorsten? Yeah, cool. They say, hey guys, what up, dude? Last year, I purchased my first BCD backplate wing setup, Apex WTX D40. I love driving it. Awesome, that's good to hear. I'm cool. just wondering as I compare it to the rental BCDs I dove before, all jacket style, more water seems to be in the wing after the dive. I deflate it when descending. During the dive, I hardly ever touch the inflator, mainly shallow dives in the past few months, but afterwards there's still a fair amount of water inside. I've checked the inflator, the dump valve and the bladder all for malfunction/leaks. Is this normal? Do you have any advice?
It could be a couple of things. It could be, if you've checked all the valves and whatnot, they're not leaking or faulty or anything, then that's good. You can tick that off your list. But it could be that with the D40, it's probably just got the standard K-style inflator. And when you push the button, it actually opens up a larger bore, so it's going to allow sort of more transfer of gas compared to a lot of sort of standard rental kit. They'll have a pretty standard inflator, whereas the K-style inflator is kind of dialed up. So it might just be that, in that it's allowing a greater amount of airflow, which can also allow a bit of water coming in as well. If you leak tested it, then that's probably it. It does happen, and there's not a great deal that you can do about it. You kind of have to sort of deflate when you need to. But yeah, just in between dives, just make sure that you're purging it. And yeah, that's about it, unfortunately. Not much else that I can help with. It is a thing. I've heard stories of people traveling back from Egypt and they got hit with an excess baggage thing, and they're like, oh, it's all like they're corrupt and whatnot. They're trying to get sort of money out of me. I haven't bought anything out there. I'm bringing exactly what I brought out back, but somehow all of a sudden it weighs a certain amount more. And then when they get back to the dive center, you're like purging like 2 or 3 liters of water out of the inside of their BCD. And it's like, well, that's it. You just bought like 3 kilos of the Red Sea back with you. That's your excess package.
That's disgusting. You need to send that back. You need to go back and tip it back in, stealing their water.
I know. But yeah, it is a real thing, and a lot of people don't really sort of notice it. But yeah, every time you press that purge button, yeah, you're letting gas out. But yeah, it's like opening up a bottle of water underwater, or a bottle of air underwater. The water's just going to get in. So yeah, just press that purge button as little as possible, which it sounds like you're doing. I still get water inside of my BCD. It happens. There's nothing that you can really do to avoid it. Yeah, just in between dives, just sort of drain it, and that'll sort of keep your maximum buoyancy.
Cool, excellent. There you go, guys. Again, any other tricks and tips that you know of? Let us know in the comments below, please. So we're going to go to the last question now of today's episode. It's from Luton. What up, Luton? They say, I have an Aqua Lung Legend Deluxe. Ooh, fancy. Probably about 70 dives. Is it necessary to get it serviced now?
No.
Fantastic. That's exactly what people want to hear.
Thanks for watching. No, I mean the service schedule on the Legend Deluxe I think is 100 dives or 1 year, whichever one comes first. 70 dives, you don't strictly need to get it serviced. It's very much it's up to you. You can by all means get it serviced, but sort of look at your schedule and kind of plan it accordingly. Because we're coming up to the winter time, if you're not going to dive sort of over the winter time until like your next dive is planned like next June or whatever, then I'd probably hold on to it, probably get them serviced around sort of May time, maybe a bit earlier, so you can get a check dive in first. But 70, as long as they're not acting up, they should be okay. I mean, if the 70 dives have been done in like 2 weeks, then yeah, I probably would get them serviced because that's quite heavy going for your regulators. But if they're acting perfectly normally, I'd probably wait a little bit. And then, yeah, but if you do have some kind of service schedule, it's worth looking into that. If they're brand new, some sort of territories you can get servicing schedules with your local dive center, and that can sort of work out cheaper in the long run. Some regulators as well. I'm not sure if it's Aqua Lung. I think that might be another territorial thing. They do it in some countries, but not all countries. You can get like an interim service where they inspect it. They don't necessarily change all the gubbins and whatnot. They check it over, make sure it's fully functioning, and that's like a sort of a stopgap. So it's not a complete service, so it's a little bit cheaper, but it like tides you over and like extends its sort of working life. But if in doubt, yeah, if it is acting up, yeah, just take it in for a service. But yeah, I think it's 1 year or 100 dives. You're getting close to the 100 dives, but I'd plan it accordingly, because if you get it done now and you're not going to dive it in the next 6 months or something, it's going to need another service then before you take it diving again. Regulators don't like to be just sat in a cupboard, because the greases, they start to sort of go off, and then the O-rings, they start to harden and crack. They like to be used every now and then. So if it's going into storage for like 6 months or something, it's going to need servicing again. So I'd almost keep them in the cupboard for that 6 months. And then probably about a month or so before your next big diving trip, I'd get them serviced, because they do tend to sort of settle in after their service. So get them serviced, take them for a dive, just somewhere local for a check dive, just like a lake or something. That gets all the parts kind of moving, getting into the swing of things. And because you might find at the end of dive 1 or dive 2, they start to creep and let a little bit of gas sort of come in through. Take them back to whoever serviced them. They'll just tweak it just a little bit. It's nothing unusual, and then they're ready for your next big dive trip. But I wouldn't rush into sort of servicing your regulators to then put them in storage for a few months.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Thanks for that. That was really helpful. That's why it's in Ask Mark.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's it, guys. The show is finished. See you later. Bye. No, one thing.
Oh yeah, you don't like doing the outro, do you?
No, I'm going to do it. I want to do the outro today.
All right, go on then.
So first off, before I end the show, don't forget our goal, because it should be on your mind 24/7. The road to 6,000. Our Instagram over the past couple of months has bloomed. It's blossomed into something beautiful. And we want to push it further. We want to see if we can hit 6,000 followers by the end of the year. Now, I know that doesn't seem like much in terms of obviously our YouTube, but obviously depending on how many followers we got on YouTube, but it's a whole different ballgame over on Instagram. And we just want to get to 6,000, which is something that wasn't even on our radar this year. But yeah, since we've mixed up our feed and the way that we do things over there, it's got super, super popular. So yeah, if you're on Instagram, just head over to there and hit that follow button. You'll get 90% of the shots that we share on there are of other people, so reposts, but it means it's more lifestyle, it's more inspiring you to go diving or to think of a certain dive or think of a certain snorkel type or area or place, just to get your scuba juices flowing. So yeah, go over there. And also as well, like I said at the beginning of the video, we did a short Q&A, a live feed, and hopefully we can do more of that in the future. And the only way you're going to find out about that is if you follow our channel, and then it'll ping up in your feed and your stories at the top of Instagram. So yeah, please go do that. If we can hit 6,000 by the end of the year, that would be brilliant. What else do you normally talk about at the end?
Yeah, if you've got any questions.
If you've got any comments, questions, or queries, use the hashtag askmark. You can put it at the beginning of your question, in the middle, or at the end. As long as it's the complete hashtag, you can stick it wherever you want in your comment, and it will be featured in this show. If it's super important, obviously Mark or our other scuba diving team, which is Greg, which I don't even think he checks the YouTube.
No.
So basically Mark will obviously reply to you either personally or in the post itself. And there and then, but if it's an interesting question, obviously we will put it on the show. And again, it's not just limited to YouTube. Ask us on Instagram, either use the hashtag or directly message us, or the same for Facebook as well. If you directly message us on there, but again, still put that hashtag so then we know it's for this show. That would be amazing. We have merch on our spring store. So with the emotional bolt snap t-shirt, we've got the cracking design. We've got a couple of other designs going live. I've rejiggered the store itself, so there's more options. There's more things that you could potentially buy. If you watch our surface interval, you will know there is a code. If you don't know that code, go watch surface interval. Or to be honest with you, the code is pinned in the comments there. So go click on that video, give it a thumbs up, obviously. Copy that code and you will get some money off. And that's ongoing as well, which is pretty cool. Again, we are a store, we are an online retailer, so don't forget to shop at simplyscuba.com for all your latest and greatest scuba diving gear. We've got some exciting brands coming back to the, I should say back, but also new brands. So we've got, because again, it's nearly been a year since we've kind of revamped the store, and it's been, January, February time is when we started properly getting some serious stock back in. in. So it's still early days for the store itself. But yeah, we're getting some brands that we did have before, and we are getting quite a lot of new brands on board as well, which we are super duper excited about. So yeah, to keep up to date with our latest gear on the website, just hit, go type your email address at the bottom of the website, and then you can stay up to date with the latest offers and gear that we've got. You'll get weekly emails. You only get a weekly email, and if you purchase something, obviously you then get the purchase email. That's it. We won't bombard you with anything else. So it's very limited emails, because who wants to get cluttered emails? Let's be honest with you. The more you get from us, the more spammy it is, the more you either won't click on it or just delete it. That's it, isn't it? I mentioned the website, mentioned Instagram, hashtag askmark, follow us on Instagram, Teespring, get that code, go to the surface intervals, the previous couple, so go to probably the newest one, and you'll find the code there. Because it is Christmas time, guys and girls.
Almost.
So we actually, separate, we need to talk about our Christmas lineup, Mark. We need to start getting that fine-tuned on what we're going to do this Christmas. But that's not for us, Mark. That's for a Christmas meeting. Fun times and exciting. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
And safe diving.
Stay classy. Bye, guys. Bye. Au revoir. Au revoir. That's so not right.